have a message from God for you. There was a time in Israel's history, dark, quiet, and broken. The time when the people had drifted again. The echoes of God's commandments had faded beneath the noise of compromise, and like clockwork, a new oppressor rose. His name was Eglon, King of Moab, ruthless, overconfident. He didn't come alone. He formed an alliance with the Ammonites and the Amalekites, ancient enemies with one shared goal: to break Israel's spirit. Together, they swept across the land like a storm, raiding cities, claiming territory, stripping the people of power and dignity. Israel didn't stand a chance. For 18 long years, they lived under a shadow. Food became scarce, faith turned quiet, and freedom a memory. Fathers no longer told stories of the Red Sea. Children grew up without hearing about the Promised Land. The songs of deliverance faded. But then, Israel cried out, not just out of pain, but out of repentance, and God heard. He wasn't a warrior, not a king, not a prophet. His name was Ehud, from the tribe of Benjamin. Benjamin, the son of the right hand, and yet Ehud was left-handed. A detail easy to overlook, but not by God. It seemed like a small thing, almost irrelevant, but this was not a coincidence, because what everyone saw as weakness, God would use as a weapon. Ehud was chosen not because he was the strongest, but because he was the least expected. He didn't carry the charisma of a leader, but he carried conviction, and in God's hands, that was enough. Israel sent tribute to Eglon. It was the law, the ritual, the humiliation. Ehud went with them, walking under the weight of gifts, but also a secret weapon. A dagger, short, double-edged, strapped not to his right thigh as most would expect, but to his right side, hidden where no one would check. It was hand-forged, a private act of preparation. This wasn't impulse, it was obedience. He was quiet, calculating, and that day when the tribute was handed over and the team turned to leave, Ehud paused. He looked over his shoulder, at the palace doors, at the guards, at the weight of what he was about to do. He turned back toward the palace. I have a secret message for the king, he said, and they let him in. The room was quiet. Eglon, curious and arrogant, dismissed his guards. It was just the two of them now. A man of power and a man of purpose. I have a message from God for you, Ehud said. He stepped forward, and in one swift motion, he reached across his body, pulled the dagger from his right thigh, and struck. Silence. Eglon fell. The great king of Moab, undone by the man no one would have chosen. There was no one to call for help, no guards rushing in, only stillness. The message had been delivered in full. Ehud turned, locked the doors behind him, and disappeared into the shadows. While the king's attendants waited outside, assuming he was in the restroom, Ehud was already miles away, moving fast. By the time they discovered the king's body, it was too late. Ehud rallied the Israelites. Trumpets sounded in the hill country. Men rose, and they struck down the Moabites, taking back their land. 10,000 men cut down, none escaped. And on that day, Israel found freedom, and there was peace for 80 years. Now, stop. Think about this. The man God used wasn't the obvious choice. He wasn't the loudest voice. He wasn't the biggest presence in the room. He was left-handed in a right-handed world. He was quiet, calculating, overlooked. But when God called, he didn't hesitate. And maybe that's you. Maybe you feel unseen. Maybe the world has told you you are not enough, that your gifts are awkward, unpolished, not useful. But God doesn't need the expected. He uses the obedient. So the question is, when is your turn to act? Will you? One story, one unlikely hero. But there are so many more hidden in these pages. Moments of courage, faith, and wild grace. Come back next time as we uncover another forgotten story from the Bible. One that might just shift the way you see God and yourself.